Remember in 2020 when all the conference commissioners and athletic directors and all these people were out here crying to the media constantly about how much money they were going to lose because of the pandemic, and oh my God, we can't sell tickets to the games, and we're playing limited schedules. We're going to have to file bankruptcy, and we're going to have to go on EBT and get housing vouchers because we're going to lose so much money. Well, through open records requests and tax returns, we now know how much money each conference lost during the pandemic year of 2020. Figures, I guess, come out a year behind. I guess we don't really know how much the conferences made till they file their tax returns the following year. So I couldn't find anything on 2021 yet, at least nothing official. There's a lot of guesstimates based on TV contracts and things like that, but no official numbers for 2021. But we do have the official numbers for 2020, and man, you're not going to believe how much money these conferences lost. This is unbelievable. Let's start with, you want to go lowest to highest or highest to lowest? I guess we'll go highest to lowest. Well, the SEC only made in 2020 $777 million. $777 million they made in the pandemic year. Poor, pitiful me. Yeah, let's all feel sorry for these conferences. $777 million. Split up per team, 14 teams in the SEC. That's $54.6 million per team in the SEC. This is not football revenue. This is total revenue for fiscal year 2020 athletic departments. So this is this is everything, okay? This is everything combined. $777 million for the SEC, $54.6 million per school. That's up $120 million from the year before. So the crybaby routines, y'all were grifting us is what you were doing. It was a giant grift. You made $120 million more. Insane. Who came in second place in the pandemic year when everybody went poor in these conferences because they weren't going to make any money? The Big Ten. They made $680 million. $680 million. Now, the Big Ten was down from the year before. They made $770 million the year before in 2019. So the Big Ten did make less money, $680 million. That's $90 million less than they made the year before, but they still made $680 million. Divide that by the teams in the Big Ten, that's $48.5 million per team. So the two teams at the top of the heap, which shouldn't really be, or the two leagues at the top of the heap, you should have been able to guess this without me telling you. The SEC and the Big Ten are on top. The SEC made $777 million. The Big Ten, $680 million. Again, this is fiscal year 2020. Who came in third? Again, probably not a surprise. The ACC. The ACC came in third, $578 million, up from 2019. So two of the top three conferences in college football in terms of revenue, the ACC and the SEC, made more money in 2020 than they made in 2019. But they cried about lost revenue, tried to get you to feel bad for them. Grifters. Send the collection plate around again. $578 million the ACC made in 2020. That comes out to $36.1 million per team, which is up 16.4% over the previous year, 2019. You can't believe anything these people tell you when it comes. If you listen to them, they're constantly poor. They always need one more dollar from some big donor somewhere, don't they? Now, bringing up the rear, of course, the Pac-12 and the Big 12. Who do you think made more during the pandemic year, the Pac-12 or the Big 12? The Pac-12 played, what, a 6-game schedule? The Big 12 played an 11-game schedule, I believe. Well, the Pac-12 actually made more, believe it or not. The Pac-12 made $344 million, which came out to $19.8 million per team. Now, that was down 36% over 2019. So the Pac-12 did make significantly less money in 2020 than they made in 2019, but still, that's a king's ransom there. When you look at these money amounts, $344 million, $19.8 million per team, down 36%. Coming in last, pulling up the rear, the Big 12, $290 million, which came out to $29 million per team. There's only 10 teams in the Big 12, so they can make less money and pay more per team in theory. So that's what happened there. The Big 12 schools made $29 million per team. Pac-12 schools only made $19.8 million per team. But because there's more teams in the Pac-12, the Pac-12 made less money overall than the Big 12. The Big 12 was down $53 million from the year before. So the Pac-12, the Big 12, and the Big 10 did make less money in 2020, the pandemic year, than they made in 2019. That is true. But all three conferences still made an absolute killing. The SEC and the ACC, who I believe are probably the two conferences that got it the most right. They were the two conferences, that never backed away from playing. They not only made a ton of money. Again, the SEC making $777 million, the ACC making $578 million. Both increases over the previous year. The SEC made $120 million more in the pandemic year of 2020 than they did in 2019, and the ACC made a 16.4% increase over the previous year. So there it is. I saw an article on this before I went out of town. I think it was Thursday or Friday. I made an article on that one morning while I was, I read an article on that one morning while I was drinking my coffee before the morning show. And I made a bunch of notes on it. And I wanted to make this video before I went out of town on Saturday night. I completely forgot. I was like halfway to Atlanta and I looked at the Uber lady and I was like, oh my God, I forgot to make the damn video. So making it today. Anyway, does that surprise you at all? Did you think the conferences lost money in 2020 with no fans in the stands and limited schedules and everything else that went into that? You know, they had to spend a lot of money on testing and quarantining type stuff. Are you surprised that they still made that much money? I'm really not. Being a Power 5 conference is a license to print money. It's a license to print money. Even now that the players are getting paid, the conferences are loving this. The players are getting what they want, which is a little bit of extra money in their pocket through name, image, and likeness. But it's not costing the universities a dime. It's not costing them anything. Because it's still illegal for the universities to directly pay athletes. So the universities are still raking all this money in from ticket sales and $10 Cokes and $15 popcorns and, millions and billions of dollars worth of TV revenue. The universities are still raking all that money in and aren't having to give any of it to the players. They're loving life. The players can get paid, but it's got to be from John Q. Citizen, regular folk like me that just want to, hey, here's $20 and have a cheeseburger on me, that kind of thing. It's not costing universities anything. So, yeah, Power 5 conferences still making an absolute killing, even in the pandemic year. I'd be curious to know what last year's numbers were, 2021. I'm sure they're up across the board on all 5 of these conferences. So whatever money the conferences made in 2020, I'm sure they all made more in 2021 because it was much more of a normal, quote, normal season, a regular season than what we had in 2020. Anyway, let me know down below if any of that surprised you.